right, it's party
We're
time.
live. We are live, Gray. What is up, man?
How are you doing, man? How you doing?
Oh man, busy weekend. I'll tell you that. Been busy since the time I got up this morning, but I ran over here and we're here, man. How's it going? How was your weekend?
You know, it's funny. This is gonna. I mean, it's gonna be a very productive next 10 days. But technically, I'm on vacation, if you want to
Nice.
call it that, because I'm redoing the garage. I'm redoing the prepper pantry room. I'm redoing some things out in the garden. So of course, I'll turn that into YouTube stuff. Some of it, but I'm not going anywhere, doing anything. I'm just organizing and restructuring things to make it readily accessible and easier to find things, if that makes sense.
Nice.
Uh,
It's a
I'm
never-ending
tired of
thing,
the
isn't it?
chaos. Yeah, I'm tired of the chaos, bro. It's not super chaos. I just feel there's lots of things that I can improve on. And I've been putting them off because of work. And of course, you know, between work, YouTube, and family, you just stay busy. So,
Yeah, here it's never-ending, man. It's like almost prep. We as preppers are almost never satisfied. It's like it doesn't matter how many times I reorganize the pantry. It's like it can always be better, you know. But hey,
I
at least
agree.
it gives me something to do, man.
Absolutely. So before we get started tonight, I want to talk some crap. So you good with that, man?
Oh, come on, man. You
So,
don't gotta ask me that.
and the reason, you know, how we were talking about behind the scenes, I'm to the point now where I'm thinking of not answering every single comment and trying to stay out of the comments as often as I do, because some of it,
Wow. Finally, it happened to you.
I know
Finally, it happened to you.
some of it drives me nuts because I literally feel bad for some of the people that are commenting and the things that they're saying. So I did a little video. I mean, this is, to me, this is tiny, tiny little bag to me, little tiny. It's a shoulder strappy kind of, you know, bag. I
Ray,
call
you,
this my,
you ought to see the stuff I carry in my. Oh my goodness, man! You ought to see what I carry in my truck, like in my Suburban. I'm gonna have to build shelves for the back because
right.
I got so much stuff in there that I'm like, no, I have to have this. If I'm more than
Okay.
10 miles away from my house, I have to have this.
So you feel
And you're showing me that bag is nothing.
right. This is a tiny little, I call this my EDC bag. And people are
Yeah,
like,
yeah, every day.
that's not EDC. EDC's on your pockets and, you know, all this stuff like that.
Not,
And folks,
not really.
if you like me, if you guys enjoy our channel, both of our channels, hit that thumbs up button, for especially for you guys catching us in the replay. So I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that folks, most of the people that leave a comment, leave an educated comment, an informative comment. They add to the conversation. Really great stuff. You know what I mean? But there's always a few. There's always a few that, like, I'm like, you're gonna die. That's what I usually think. You're gonna die. If someone says like, oh, I don't see why would anybody would ever carry a tourniquet. I've been alive for 50 years. I've never been shot at. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, there's always that one chance that you're in a Walmart and someone goes nuts. There's always that one chance
Ray,
you're at a football game.
the thing is that to like people like that, you know what I would say to people like that? Okay, then don't carry one.
I want to say mean stuff, but I try to be
No,
nice
that's not
because
mean though. That's not mean. That's just hey, okay, that's how you feel. Don't carry one. I feel differently. I have tourniquet and scissors and big. I've got one of those MC 4-packs from my Bear from Bear Independent. I got one of those MC 4-packs in my Suburban, and I got one of those in my Tundra. Right. And then and if I never ever have to use one of those ever, I will be so thankful. Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's
go ahead.
I say that's exactly my point. Is the stuff that we carry, we hope that we never have to use it. Like, and folks, if you haven't seen this video, check it out. It's doing really well, surprisingly, Rudy. YouTube is actually pushing it along. Even though I showed a firearm in that video.
How dare you?
I know, it's crazy, right? I thought I was going to get the most crap for the firearm that I carry for my everyday carry. I thought that was going to be the topic, because I know when I do certain things, I will trigger some folks out there. Oh, you know, this or that or whatever. And one person's like, well, I have a lot of that stuff and I keep it in my car. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I said, I wish people could actually get into my brain and see why I do what I do. Because I'm like, what if I can't get to my car? I like having a secondary kit with at least the most possible stuff that I can cram into it in case that I'm separated from my vehicle and I can't get to my get home bag. Someone even complimenting said, "Oh, that looks like a nice get home bag." And I'm thinking, well, for 2.5 pounds, it's an excellent get home bag because it has no weight at all. But they're not comprehending what I'm trying to relay. And the reason I do these videos like that, it was just a bag dump, just showing people because people have been asking, is to give, not say, hey, duplicate what I do, is to give people ideas and tips. I'm like, hey, maybe this might work for you. These are some of the gear that I personally carry. I live in Florida. This is my life. And, you know, this is me. What do you think? And what, you know, I asked the question, what do you carry for your everyday carry? And do you see things that I can improve upon? Do you things that you know interest you, and just stuff like that? I try to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
But then there's the critical folks out there that are gonna like break every little piece down. I'm like, well, this is dumb and that's stupid. I'd rather carry a big lighter versus that lighter. What do you think about this? And da 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 da. And then someone. And
it's all right, man.
This is
a Grey.
Yes.
Grey. It's gonna be all right. Okay.
I know it's gonna be all right. But the one is someone said, oh, you know, you should carry some tampons. And I'm like, I showed you
carry them if you want to.
I know. And I said, that makes sense. If I was a woman, you know, for hygiene products and stuff like that, to add to the little kit.
I was gonna say that.
But they were saying, you know, for stopping the bleed. And I'm like, well, I have a compression bandage in there. I have quick clot in there. I have gauze in there.
There you go.
I think I'm kind of covered without having to carry that specific product for me. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I don't feel that they either watch the whole video or they digest the material that's being presented in front of them. But yeah, that's my little rant.
I mean, it's like to each their own, right? At least they're commenting that. At least they're commenting though, saying, "Hey, you should carry tampons and stuff." And when you said that, I was like, "Yes, that's fine. If you want to carry a tampon for like most people say to plug a bullet wound, right? If you want to carry one for that, that's fine. Carry it. If you don't have the means to get quick clot in the cloth, you know, that you stuff in there. If you don't have the means to get that, because those are a little bit pricey, then yes, go ahead and carry a couple tampons. Me personally, I rather carry the quick clot because that's what they're made for. You know, quick clots, you know, you can stuff. I mean, you can get pretty violent with those, like stuffing them in a, you know, in a bullet wound or something, and it will actually work. It will actually stop arterial bleeding. Will a tampon stop arterial bleeding? I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would, because it's just cotton pretty much, right? But if that's what you want to carry, because that's what you can get, then it's better than nothing. I have to say that much. So at least you're getting the conversation going.
Yeah, and I did have those conversations with a couple of people that I'm glad that they said, well, I have this and that, I don't have that. And I was like, hey, at least you are thinking about it, and at least you're starting to put it together. And that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Step by step. And the thing is when I think about when some people said, man, that's kind of a lot of stuff. And I'm thinking, man, if you've seen my house, if you've seen the cases and cases of like bandages and this crazy stuff that I have, you would think that I'm insane, that I'm literally waiting for the zombie apocalypse.
But you know what, Grey, what I say is this to anyone that wants to carry a first aid kit: if you don't have the means to have something that's extravagant, or something that you may call extravagant, because what's extravagant to you may not be to someone else. And maybe to someone else, right? So at least have the very basics. All right. If you don't have the means, go to Costco or Walmart, get one of those little cases that have band-aids, that have triple antibiotic ointment, that have ibu, all those little things, right? Because you know what? I took a trip this weekend and I needed some first aid care. My wife provided to me some first aid care. You know what she did for me? I don't know if you can see it or not, but I got a really nasty scratch. She put some triple antibiotic ointment on there, clean it up, some antibiotic and a Band-Aid. That's what I needed and I needed it. You know why? Because more than likely, if she wouldn't have done that for me and covered it up, it could have gotten infected. So what I'm saying is that most people won't need that tourniquet. They won't, you know, statistically speaking. Most people won't need that quick clot, but the reason you have it is not because you're going to need it. It's in case you need it. The exact same reason why you have that spare tire in the trunk of your car. Exact same reason. It's not because you want to have to need it. It's because you may need it. And if you don't have it, your life is not going to be better not having it than if you actually have it.
Absolutely.
Hey, Grey, I wanted you to go ahead and bring up a couple of comments that I see here. If you want to go all the way back to 305,
I'm going to scroll back.
Timestamp 305. Take a look at Tristan there, Tristan Davis.
Okay, let me see. And what last thing I was going to add is the video before that I did a build your own IFAC from I teamed up with a company.
That one.
Yeah, where you can actually buy individual pieces that fits best for you.
Yep.
All American made, no Chinese stuff, because that's what, a lot of our viewers like. We want as much as American made as possible, especially when it comes to medical. But outside of that, all the other gear they carry that. And I thought like to myself, this would be a great video because people can tailor fit their IFAC or their first aid kit to what they need and the skills that they have outside of buying a pre-made kit. And someone said, well, I like Bear's kit. And I'm like, so do I. I like North American Rescues kits. I like Bear's kits. I like Prep Medics. I like a lot of their kits, but a lot of people don't have the training associated with using some of those kits. So I'm like trying to give people options. You know what I mean?
A pulmonary pneumothorax, right?
Yes,
what do you have? What do you have? You have a chest seal and you have a needle. What are you going to do with it? Okay, you got it. What are you going to do with a nasal pharyngeal? What is it? What is it? First of all, you're going to buy one of those kits. You're going to look at these things like, what is this? Like, how do I use it? So yeah, I think that people ought to have in their kit what they can use for like their EDC.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as having in their preps, look, I'm not a surgeon. I don't know how to perform any small surgery or anything like that, but I have a small surgeon's kit. I have that like in my break the glass part of my preps, right? Because if in the future there is a systemic crisis or what we like to call SHTF, and there is some kind of surgery that's needed, only because we have a crisis that's systemic doesn't mean that EMTs, that nurses, that doctors, that surgeons, that they're going to disappear. They're still going to be around, and you may be able to help them if they can help you, and you may have the tools that they can use in order to help you, right? If you know what I mean.
Absolutely, 100%.
So there's nothing wrong with having those things, but the things that you carry on an everyday, you should at least know the basics of how to use them. That's just common sense, in my opinion. Now, hey, listen, I just wanted to say hello to Tristan. I haven't seen Tristan in a while, man. So how you doing, Tristan? It's good to see you. And I think his comment is pretty good. It says, it's bad enough I have enough stuff in my pockets to fill that little bag.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That is awesome.
All right. So I just want to say hello to Tristan. And right under him, Nitekri D. Paul. I live in Houston. I have been shot at twice, held at gunpoint once, attacked with a bat once, granted, all while working in a bad area. So it just depends on what part of your life you're in, what your profession in, as to how articulate you ought to make your EDC. It really does. I would say this to finish off on this topic. If you want to have something that you carry every day that would do you the most good, this is what I would recommend, but you can obviously get what you want, right? I would say a basic first aid kit, because you're going to use those Band-Aids a lot more than you're going to use that tourniquet. But knowing that a tourniquet is the #1 life-saving tool on the battlefield, right? I would have a tourniquet and a pair of scissors in each of my vehicle, and then go ahead and have your Band-Aids, your stuff like that. And probably also a blood clot wrap. If you have those three things, you can save a life in a traumatic case where maybe you come across a very bad car accident and someone, has half their leg and they're bleeding off, torn off, they're bleeding off. Or if you live in a bad area or travel through a bad area, maybe you find yourself in the middle of of people trying to take each other out, and you have someone with a bullet wound, and you might be able to put some quick clot in there, and that may be able to save their lives, at least long enough to stabilize them until a professional gets by. I would have those things, a pair of scissors in order to get to the wound quickly. I would have a tourniquet. Make sure you know how to use the darn tourniquet. A lot of people don't know how to use a tourniquet because they think it's really easy. It is easy, but you need to know how to do it. And then I would have some quick clot and then just your basic stuff. What do you think, Grey? Would you add anything to that?
No, those are some basic things outside of maybe, a pair of gloves to protect you and your patient. You know what I mean? They're just cheap. You can throw them in a bag. There's a lot of things that you can do that are very affordable. And to me, folks, for a $25 American made North American Rescue tourniquet, sometimes you get them on sale. It is Father's Day, so they probably have all kinds of sales. Why not have it and practice with it? You know what I mean? It's not hard to, it's a reusable product by practicing it. Now, some people say, well, after using it several times, I would never use a tourniquet again. Well, then buy a training tourniquet. You know what I mean? They're even cheaper, the orange ones, and play with that one, just so you know the basics behind the use of a tourniquet. Watch some YouTube videos, apply it. I'm pretty sure, I think Bear he's done reviews on how to use a tourniquet. A lot of channels have Prep Medic, Skinny Medic, and the list goes on with these folks. There's a lot of great information out there, but you should also applying these skills. I personally think that everyone should attend a class. You know what I mean? Just if it's a simple class, and then if you like that, then move forward. Because again, I always say, what if it's my daughter? What if it's my wife? What if it's someone that I really care for, and I didn't take the initiative to actually have something that I could have done to save their life? Because I think 2 to 5 minutes is max. Somewhere between that 2 to 5 minute mark is the type, how long it takes you to bleed out. And everybody says, well, I live in a city, cops will show up at my house in 5 minutes. So you're saying their response time is 5 minutes. So that's assessing the patient, calling 911, explaining to them what happened, police going from point A to point B, getting to you and making sure that they have the gear ready to save your life.
Right.
To me, that's still not good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, depending on where the injury is, you can bleed out in 30 seconds.
Yeah, no,
and depending on how severe it is. But anyways, point taken. And what the heck was I gonna say? I thought I saw some. Oh, Rakamas, how you doing, brother? Rakamas.
Yeah, there she is.
Hey, Grey, can I go ahead and talk about what's going on with Opus for my sale this month?
I don't care.
Right.
Do your pitch,
only
man.
For a minute or so, because the reason I want to do it is because there's a giveaway involved, 2 giveaways, and they're very nice. So
giveaways always are good, man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not joined my if you haven't gone to my website and joined my mailing list, I don't go crazy with newsletters. I don't send you stuff every day. I've never sent one newsletter or mass email out once since people have joined. All right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing it whenever there's a really good sale on something that is a prepper related, obviously, because that's what I talk about mostly. But if you join my newsletter, right, you'll be entered to win. I believe it's an Opus 600. It's either an Opus Exodus 600 Plus or an Opus Exodus 600. I'm going to give away to someone who joins my newsletter, right? And then I'm going to give away an Opus 1800 to anyone who purchases anything during this Father's Day sale. Is going on right now through, I think, the 19th. So it started on the 10th and it goes on through the 19th. And even if you go over there and you buy a wire that costs $20, you'll be entered to win. All you have to do is send me your order number, a print screen of your order number to my email over at onewinnerwinnerchickendinner2@gmail.com. But I'll talk about that on my channel here later on. But go join the newsletter so you can be entered to win. It costs you absolutely nothing. And anyone that orders anything will be entered to win an Opus 1800, right? And I'll be talking about who the winners are probably about a week or so after the sale is over, so towards the end of this month. But go check it out because they have an awesome sale. And on top of 10% off that they're giving to anyone that buys a bundle, you can still use my discount coupon. So you're getting like more than 15% off their already discounted prices. And this is, of course, for anyone that's in the market for a solar generator. Okay. So if you're not in the market for a solar generator, I don't want to hear you say anything like, oh, there goes AP talking about Opus again. All right. Just if you're in the market for it. And other than that, take it back to you, Grey.
Now, I was reading Big Dog's comment here. So I gave every member of my house a get home bag and medic bag. Keep them in their vehicles. They've been trained on all that gear. That should be the minimum. Absolutely, brother. That's awesome. That's awesome, great to hear. And I feel like in our live streams, we have some of our core subscribers, the folks that, like, you know, if we wanted to put a video out about petting our dog, they're going to watch it because they want to support our channel no matter what we put out. You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. I'm auto disqualified from winning any silver.
Hey, Grey. I was able to use some of the Quick Clot the other day.
Oh, really?
In a real life situation, I use Quick Clot, and I'll tell you what, it works really, really good. I think it saved a life. Want me to tell you the story of how I used it?
Was it the granules or was it the bandage?
It was the powder. Okay.
Okay.
It was the powder. I didn't need to use the bandage because it wasn't like an intrusive wound. It was like a wound that was bleeding out that you can get too easy. So I used the powder, and I'll tell you what, it worked great. So, before I say anything, go ahead and say thank you to Tristan. He gave you a super chat.
I appreciate that, brother. Anything that anybody does that helps the channel is truly appreciated. And super chats are going above and beyond. So thank you so much.
That's awesome. Thank you, brother. So I don't know if this was about a week ago or so, maybe closer to 2. But you know Poppy, right? My rooster.
Uh-oh.
So look. This is how big this thing got.
Oh, wow.
And look at my finger, look. So it was curved up on his foot, like touching upwards, not going down. So I found out how to get these things off on YouTube. And what you do is you grab the rooster and you put him on his back. And I have my wife hold him, and I grabbed his foot, and I grabbed this right here with a pair of channel locks or a pair of pliers. You grab it like this while you're grabbing his foot, and then you just wiggle it, and you'll hear a little crack, and this will come off. All right, so you don't have to actually cut them off. It'll just come off. And when this came off, I tore off, and you'll see his new one. You'll see the new one in there starting to grow, and it's still very soft. So when I took this off, it kind of like cut off half of his new one. And it was bleeding like a sieve. It was just like, it was like a water fountain, but it was blood. I'm like, man, he's gonna be gone in about a minute, man. So I ran to my truck, I grabbed one of those, I brought it back, I put it on a piece of paper towel, and I put it around his wound. Man, that thing in about a minute of me holding it there was good to go. And he's still alive, man. He's still alive and kicking it with the ladies over there. So I know that works. Unless roosters and humans have real different blood when it comes to bleeding out. It works really good on roosters, I can tell you that much. No, Minute Man, I did not save Big Red. Well, yes, I did. I saved him because somebody took him. Someone took Big Red because they needed a rooster, and now he's got his own flock without having to challenge any other roosters. And Poppy treats his ladies a lot better than Big Red used to treat them. So I'm very happy that I did that. And for Big Red, it turned out well because it was either give him away to someone that could use him or put him in the pot. It was one or the other.
There's a lot of great stories in our chat in regards to people, having to wait for EMTs or giving CPR. And that's great to hear, folks. I'm glad a lot of you folks have the gear and the skills to help other folks as well as the people that are closest to you. That's awesome. I love reading that. Anyways, you have anything else before we dive into some? I guess I don't know if we can call it political. It's not really political. It's just
no. But go if you like, go to my channel and take a look at my my last video or so, and you can get the links to the opus on there. And Gray, I did the review video on that reverse osmosis water filtration system.
I watched that
one. Anywhere, man. I'll tell you what, man. I love that little machine. I really like that little machine. I actually didn't take it with me camping this time around because I really wanted to get by with the cheaper one because most people can afford that Simpure 6-liter bag system. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be on an upcoming video, but that thing performed outstanding. But the reverse osmosis machine that I reviewed, that thing, I love that little machine. It does the job, and you can take it anywhere you want. And it's still not be like a pain in the butt to carry around. So go check out that video because I'm pretty sure you ain't never seen anything like that from another company other than Itahil. It's not even Simpure that makes that. It's a different company, Itahil. But it's a great machine, so I have to show it off.
Man, you get a lot of good thumbs up, man. 1,500 thumbs up. That's amazing on a video.
For what?
Breaking news today. Hold on, because this may be truly the end of the petrodollar.
Well, you know what? That's funny because I haven't even looked at this. I haven't even looked at my YouTube statistics since I think last Friday or Thursday. So I don't even know how many views it got, how many thumbs up or nothing.
I was just checking it out myself just to see, because
yeah, man. What do you think about that? I mean, I don't know what's gonna help. There's a comment out there. Check this out, man. I have to intervene. I actually saved this comment. Let me go ahead and share this comment with you because I forgot all about it. And this is very interesting, and it has to do with that petrodollar deal. Let me share this with you. Share screen.
I'm assuming this comment, and thank you for the super chat, is what do they call it? Facetious?
That's funny.
Thank you for the super chat.
Hey, check this comment out, Grey. Oh, you can't see it? Oh, anyways, I put it up for you to put it up when you have a minute.
All right, I'm trying to.
Why prep when the U.S. economy is doing so great? Hey, yeah, I took a picture of that. I went to buy more silver on Friday, says the postman, on June 7th. And the owner said he's going to close shop for at least a month to see what happens when the petrodollar ends. Isn't that interesting?
That is quite interesting, man. That is quite interesting. I got you.
So, yeah, let me get out of there. So, yeah, man, this is a huge deal, I believe. And I don't think that people are being told exactly what's going on behind the scenes. Because I think, this is my opinion 100%. I think that the U.S. government is going 100 miles an hour, doing anything they can to try to keep the OPEC nations from selling most of their oil products in U.S. dollars. I think they're doing everything they can. And if you all watched that video that I put up, that was Sunday's video, right, Grey?
Yes.
Yeah, that was Sunday's, right? Okay, if you all watch, I pre-recorded that video. That's why I don't remember. If you'll watch that video, there is part of that video where I found a source that pretty much said that that this administration with Blinken, which I think he's the Secretary of State, Blinken, that he was over there in Saudi Arabia trying to renegotiate a deal because that 50-year agreement between Saudi and the U.S. government, where the OPEC nations sell only in petrodollars and dollars, their oil, that was over on the 8th of June. So I don't know if they reached an agreement or not. If they did not reach a new agreement and Saudi Arabia blatantly starts to sell oil in any other currency, I think that there's going to be a shock wave of inflation coming to the United States of America.
I would agree. That's it. That's the crazy thing, man. So when I say kind of the title of this video is global conflict and inevitable, and there's so many things that are happening here locally in our government, across other governments. I don't know if people are watching Germany, what's happening in Germany. There's lots of crazy things going on there with their political structure, and there's some crazy things happen out there. Of course, there's the thing in Israel. Of course, now we have the thing in Ukraine where we have given the weapons. I kind of want to, I guess, go from what Putin had said. He said that as America and Germany, I guess those are the two that he had mentioned. He's like, they're giving a country weapons to use on them. So he says, why shouldn't I give countries that hate the West, meaning specifically us and possibly other countries, give them the weapons to use on us? And I'm thinking it's a valid point. And I don't mean I don't support Putin. I don't want anybody to take that out of context. Is what I'm saying is, if you were in that person's shoes and you were the leader of this country and another country was giving that person weapons to use on you, and you had the capabilities of giving weapons to other countries to use on your enemies, wouldn't you do so? It just makes sense.
And I know that's the slippery slope, Grey, that we fall into.
I agree.
God forbid if you agree with someone that the news and your government have told you for years is a terrible person. Mm-hmm. God forbid if you agree with those people, even though there is on record facts that say that this person has been trying to do the right thing and has been told no several times. Why? In my opinion, because the bankers and the governments need a boogeyman, right? Let me see. Putin, right? Putin asked, and you can look this up. Okay, Putin asked Clinton 20, 30 years ago now. What is it? Is it
to
30
join
years
NATO.
already? Holy smokes. Putin asked Clinton if he could become part of NATO. And this was after the USSR fell, and I mean USSR fell, and and Russia came up, right? Is it Russia? Yeah, Russia came out. It used to be the Soviet Union and the USSR, right? And now it's Russia. But he asked him, "Can we be part of NATO?" And Clinton at first told him, "Yeah, sure. I don't see why not, but let me get back to you." And when he went and talked to his handlers, is what I'm guessing, he came back and said, "Yeah, we can't let you be part of NATO." But why? Why couldn't he be part of NATO? I don't understand why. Because the Soviet Union had just fallen, what, about 4 years prior to that or something like that.
Correct.
And they came back up as Russia, as not being the same communist nation that the Soviet Union used to be. So in my opinion, like, our government should have said, absolutely, you can become part of NATO. Absolutely, you can become part of the group, because that's kind of like them saying, yes, we are going to go ahead and integrate with Western society and be one of you guys, and therefore we won't be a threat to you. But you all know that there's always a boogeyman that needs to be around so that they can use it whenever they want to take us to war. And I believe that's what they're doing now. All right. So people get angry at you because, oh, how dare you agree with this person or not? But take a look at the facts. Take a look at history. Take a look at the agreement that the United States government and at that time was the Soviet government that turned into a Russian government, made as far as encroaching into the borders of Russia with NATO countries. Because if you're a NATO country, you're allowed to have arms that NATO countries have, right? So now if you take a look 30 years ago and you see the NATO countries that were around the border of Russia, and you then turn around and compare it to today, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of NATO countries that are pretty much surrounding Russia, Ukraine being one of the last ones that hasn't become a NATO country, when we agreed with them, when we gave them our word that we would not do that. So it's like I say, you have to be kind of careful, because there's people out there that really don't think too much, and they automatically say, oh, you're a traitor, you're not a patriot, this and this. But is it true or is it not true that NATO encroached on Russia and it wasn't the other way around? I'm sorry, but that's true. But then once you say that, people are like, oh, you're just a Putin lover. There we go. Oh, you're just a Putin lover. Okay, nothing else to say about it. You're just a Putin lover. No, I'm just telling you what history tells you. This is what history tells you. Have you not learned so far that this government here, the United States of America, that this government is not for the people? We work for the government, ladies and gentlemen, when it should be the other way around. You and I, we work for the government when it should be the other way around.
Put this in perspective. When was the last, if you can remember a situation where we almost went to nuclear war? Do you remember the last situation that it came almost this close to us going nuclear?
Yeah, absolutely. It was when Donald Trump was in office, man. I can't believe they let that guy carry around the nuclear codes. That guy almost got us into nuclear war. He almost got us into war in the Middle East. He made the price of gas go 3 times higher than what. Oh, sorry about that. That was this administration. It was the Cuba Missile Crisis. Sorry about that.
So pause on that. The Cuban Missile Crisis. So since we are giving weapons to Ukraine to use into Russia's territory, when it give Putin the option to say, well, I'm going to give Cuba weapons to use on the U.S. And how people be like, well, that's not fair. But how is it not? How is it not? You know what I mean? Like they're setting it up to be that way. Not us, not we the people, but our government is setting it up to be that way, to put us in that kind of precarious situation.
And the sad thing is that when you criticize the government, or I'm going to say when I can't put any words in your mouth.
You're fine, brother.
When people like me criticize the government, some people think that we're criticizing the idea of what is these United States of America.
Absolutely
and it's not. We are criticizing an entity that has taken over these United States of America and has stolen from we the people our own sovereignty. Anyone in the US that thinks that they are a sovereign citizen is very mistaken. The only sovereign citizens that really exist in the US are those that are politicians and in law enforcement, because the rules don't apply to them where they do to us. And that is what a sovereign citizen is what they are. The rules don't apply to them. They can do whatever they want. They have true freedom, right? They have true freedom because they get away with things that we can't get away with. How many politicians are able to do insider trading? How many congressmen and senators? Do you know how many, Grey?
Yeah, all of them.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them.
535.
Every single one of them, man.
That's why you can have a net worth of $150 million and make $174,000 a year. In the United States, if you want to have a net worth of $300 million and you only make a couple hundred grand a year, go work in Congress, because you'll make that couple $100 million no problem. But can we do that? Can we do insider trading without getting in trouble? Absolutely not.
We go to prison.
Can we counterfeit money without getting in trouble? No, we'll go to jail probably for the rest of our lives if we counterfeit money. But what is the creation of money out of nothing? It's counterfeiting. But they put their fancy words on them and they call it quantitative easing. They call it stimulus payments. They call it borrowing. They call it borrowing when they're just making money out of thin air. But we would go to jail. We are not the sovereign citizens. That's what people need to understand. That when we criticize government, we're criticizing government because we want to stay free. We want to be freer. We want our children to be free. And with the way that the system is now, it's the best way that I can explain this system that we have now is called moral hazard. Do you know what that means, Grey? Moral hazard?
Elaborate.
It's like all right, so let's say that you have a bank that has a whole bunch of money loaned out, but it has no deposits. And that bank, a whole bunch of loans in that bank fail. Okay. And then what happens? The government comes and bails them out.
Right.
And then they do it again. Why are they going to do it again? Because they know that the government's going to come and bail them out again. That's a moral hazard. They keep doing what they know is wrong. They keep doing what they know will hurt people, but they don't care because their gains are capitalistic, but their losses are socialistic, meaning that when they make money, they get to keep it. But when they lose money, we as a people get to pay for the money that they lost, not them. And that's a moral hazard. When a system allows something or someone to do something that's wrong, because that person knows that they're going to be bailed out every single time. And that's what our government is. It's a moral hazard. Everyone in government, they know that if they do something wrong, they're going to be bailed out in one way or another. They're going to get away with it. How many people have gone to jail in the last several years that should be in jail right now?
I wanted to bring up this comment from Rodney. It says, Russia is also using weapons and soldiers from other countries, so Putin should shut his whining. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. And here's how I look at it. That's the plan. The plan is the tits for tats. He does this, we do that. This person does that. They're going to do this. And then the escalation keeps on going and going and going. But the thing is what do we see at the end of the road of all this kind of tit for tat kind of situation? It just keeps on escalating until it turns into a possible world war, a global conflict, which will basically, the bigwigs want that. And someone's, because there's so much money behind it. There's so much money behind it. And it restructures global power when they need to do that. So we have these.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. The thing is that people don't look at it the way they should look at it. When we talk about Russia, we should be asking, what has the Russian people done to us? What have they done to us? What has the average working Russian man and woman that's raising a family, what have they done to us? Is there anything that anyone can say that they've done to you personally? Anyone in the United States of America, any citizen of the United States of America that's not a politician, that does not own stock in the big military industrial complex companies, anyone other than them, can anyone say a Russian did this or did this to me? And in Russia, If you're in Russia and you're just a regular citizen in Russia, just wanting to raise a family, put a few potatoes on the table, can any one of you say, what has any American citizen, not the government, what has any American citizen ever done to me? That's what we need to learn to do, because that's going to allow us to say no. Oh, you want to go ahead and fight over here? No, thank you. I don't want to go do that. What did they do to me? Oh, should we sanction these people for this, this, and this, and that? Yeah, but what did they do to us? What did they do to us? That's what we need. And when I say they, I don't mean the governments, I mean the people. Because there will always be something that you can find to blame on one government or another. There will always be something. Why? Because that's what governments do. They treat the people that they're supposed to be protecting and serving, they treat them wrong. They lie to them. They will do anything they can to stay in power. And trust me, this thing that's going on with Russia right now, that is nothing more than a huge, when you do laundry, but when you're really doing laundry with money, that's what they're doing. Okay. It's a huge, doing laundry with money thing. All right. And it's a huge transfer of wealth from the poor, the middle class, to the wealthy, and to government in the form of power. That's all that it is.
No, I agree. Just kind of browsing through some of the comments, and I like Dingus, where we all need to stop paying all taxes.
Oh, that would be awesome, man.
If we could get everybody on board of that, that would be awesome. That would God.
They've created a system that pretty much makes it impossible. What we have to remember is this: we can sit here and dream about all these things that we should do, and it's fun. I love daydreaming. It's fun. It takes you away to something that could be but never will, right? But they'll never allow you to get away from giving of your labor. That's how they control you. That's how they manipulate you in doing what they want you to do. They'll never allow you to do it. The next time that we have no taxes will be when this country is called by a different name. And eventually that day will come, right? The cycles tell you that day will come. I don't know when, but that day will eventually come. And then the cycle will start all over again.
Rudy, did you say they can go to Chicken Dinner to do the sign up for your newsletter?
No, to sign up for my newsletter, just go to any one of my videos, click on the video, look at the description, and usually on the first line or something like that, I say, please join please sign up for my new website or something like that. And it's got a link. And the link to it is easy. It's thealaskaprepper.com. The link to my website is thealaskaprepper.com. You just go in there, sign up for the newsletter, and anyone that's already signed up will also be entered to win one of the it's either the Exodus 600 or the Exodus 600 Plus. It's one or the other. All right, I don't remember which one. But anyone that purchases something through my link and uses my discount for the Father's Day sale on Opus, they'll be entered to win an Opus 1800. Right, and I'll be announcing the winners sometime either the very end of this month or the very beginning of next month, one or the other. But in order for you to be entered, if you purchase something from Opus, you have to be able to email me a print screen of your order number with the date and what you purchased and your name, obviously. That way I can put it all in an Excel and then randomly pick a winner from those. And it's not going to be a lot because not a lot of people purchase stuff. You may think that when I talk about Opus, 1,000 people go and make a purchase. No, sometimes there's only like maybe 10 or 15 or 20 people, if I'm lucky, will go and purchase something from Opus. So it's not going to be a lot of people that are going to be entered to win that 1800, but one of those people is going to win an 1800, right? And that's what you have to provide. And I'll talk about it more on one of my upcoming videos. I just haven't had time to do it this weekend because I was away, playing. We were playing this weekend, Grey. We're having a little bit of fun.
You got to, man. You gotta enjoy life as much as you can before things get too critical. I thought I don't know if you've done a video on this. I thought maybe you would have, or maybe you have seen it in the news cycles about BlackRock and Citadel Securities wanting to launch their Texas Stock Exchange in Dallas. They want to go up against the established New York Stock Exchange.
I would keep those two names out of whatever state they're trying to go to.
Exactly.
All right. Citadel, for those of you that don't know, one of the chairmen, I believe he still is, right? Don't quote me on this. I believe that he's still there. But Bernstein, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Bernstein.
Yeah, he used to be a Fed chair. He is one of the people that heads that company, Citadel, right? And that company is one of those companies that greatly benefited during the 2008 financial crisis, where that person was the Fed chair during that time, right? And then we all know about BlackRock. I wouldn't want either of those names anywhere close to any of my states. You know,
Yeah, I was trying to see if I can find it a little
yeah,
blurb here
I
from
mean,
Bloomberg right there.
is that his name, Bernstein? I'm not sure if I'm messing up his name or not.
Texas market laying down to challenge New York Stock Exchange, Nasdaq, potential boost for
Yeah.
state trying to grab more financial services. I don't know. I don't. I'm trying to scroll through the blurb, but I don't see any names popping out at me right now.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence. If you take a look at gold and silver, they've held their purchasing power over time. And even though they are greatly manipulated, they've still pretty much held their purchasing power over time, right? When gold and silver are let go, meaning that when the powers at B, don't have any more control over it, gold and silver are going to skyrocket. They're going to skyrocket. So what I would say is get it and dig a hole somewhere and put it in that hole and just leave it there, right? Instead of trying to play the market. Now, if you have a few extra nickels to rub together and you want to put a couple of dollars here or there in the stock market, by all means, do it. You might get lucky. That's what I did with some of the cryptos that I did the first round that I did them. I got pretty lucky because I bought stuff that did really, really well. And I used a lot of those funds to do what? To buy gold and silver. Why? Because I know for a fact that gold and silver in the long run are going to retain their purchasing power. You take a look at the price of gold back in 2018, I believe was around $1,600 or something like that. And what is it now? It's about 2,300. So it's about
crazy.
$700. It's about 40% more than what it was. It's kept up with inflation, even though it's held down. It is manipulated downward in price. It's still kept up with inflation. I mean, as far as playing with these companies, with the Dow and all that stuff, eventually all of that stuff is going to go down. And yes, when the Dow crashes, silver and gold will go down in price because it will be very deflationary. However, it will maintain its purchasing power. Right? You will still be able to buy the stuff you can buy with it today.
Miss Perfect asks, where do you buy silver? If you're asking me personally, I buy direct from a local dealer. It's just where I get the best deals. I know Rudy is similar, but Rudy, I think you're affiliated with somebody that's online.
I'm affiliated with like 3 different companies because they're all different. I'm affiliated with SD Bullion because if you want to buy 1 ounce of silver from them, you can, right? Pretty much. So you can buy as much or as little as you want from them. I'm affiliated with ITM Trading because a lot of people complain about ITM Trading because they do numismatics, but there is a place for all kinds of precious metals in everyone's portfolio, right? Depending on what your socioeconomic status is. Let me tell you what I think about numismatics, all right? And why I think that some people misunderstand numismatics. Grey, let me ask you a couple of questions. You know, the son of the current president, you remember how there's a story going around that he would draw paintings and stuff or paint paintings and sell them for a big price?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So why do wealthy people buy paintings, like famous paintings?
Because
I'm just asking you.
Well, I think it's because people put value in that painting, and depending on the artist that's behind that painting, it's what we as a person, or what people, let's say if I wanted to sell this little nutrient survival card and I signed my name on it, GreyMan Prepping, and I said, look, I'm selling these guys for $5 a piece. So I've given it value at that time, and everybody's like, oh, I'll pay $10. Well, now you've given it value, so now it's worth $10, and you can kind of see how that would escalate.
So what you're saying is that rich people buy paintings because they want to preserve their purchasing power, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So now a painting is a piece of art that's on a canvas that increases the value of that canvas that it's on, right? Depending who made it. Okay, now let's go to numismatic precious metals. A numismatic coin that you purchase from anyone is a piece of art that is using gold or silver as a canvas. That is what a numismatic precious metal coin is a piece of art. You're paying for the art that's on that canvas that's made out of gold and silver. So you're going to pay a very high premium on top of what that monetary value of that gold or silver is. Do you understand that, Grey?
Yes.
That's what numismatics are. I just thought I'd explain that. When you purchase numismatic coins, you're purchasing art. And that's why you're paying such a high premium. And then I also partner with Genesis Gold Group because they specialize in IRAs, in transferring IRAs. And I do know that there are some people in a part of their lives where they cannot take their IRA out of their, out of their account because they're still working there. And they would rather have it in a gold RIA than in a stock RIA where they can lose pretty much all the value overnight, like has happened to a lot of people several times over the years. And the last reason why I have more than one or two or even three is because I like people to take a look at all of them. Why? Because competition is the best thing for the consumer. So I partner with 3 different precious metals. But if you're just wanting to stack gold or silver, meaning just get a few ounces here or there and put it away for a rainy day, what I recommend highly is that you go find a coin shop. Find a local vendor that you can trust, that you can build a relationship with, that you can sell silver or gold back to should you ever have to, and buy it from them. Why? Number one, it helps the community. Number two, it helps you because you're building a relationship with someone that may be able to get you out of jam in the future. Who knows, in the future, you may have a $5,000 dental bill and you may need to get rid of some gold, and you may be able to bring it there and get the money right away so that you can go and have your dental taken care of. That actually happened to me several years ago. I had to trade in some of my gold because I had a $4,500 bill and I needed to take care of my dental. It's important. So I did that and it worked out fine. So anyways, that's who I have. That's why I recommend you go to a coin shop first and foremost. But if you can't, go check out SD Bullion, ITM Trading, or Genesis Gold Group. They are all, in my opinion, really good companies.
And Miss Perfect, like I said, I know you said you can't buy much, but Rudy has said it. I've said it. If you just take a couple dollars once a month and you just buy 1 ounce over time.
Not even. Look, this is a silver dime. This is a silver dime, man. This is like $2.
Yeah. And you don't have to buy an ounce.
Yeah, for what you spend on a pizza dinner, you can get what, 20 of these, 25 of these?
Easily.
And I actually just had a conversation. I had a great conversation with a young man today. All right. He stopped by to get something that we were giving away. I was so enlightened, man. I was so very happy and so pleased because this kid's 16 years old. And here he's actually having a conversation, a two-way conversation with me as to what real money is, as to why silver and gold is what you want to have in order to protect yourself, as to why it is that the dollar bills are not real money. He's telling me this stuff. I was like, oh my goodness, this makes me so happy that you know this information. And what made me even happier was when he said, I'll never join the military for a government that wants to send me to fight for something that has nothing to do with me. He said that. I was like, that's awesome.
You got a good head on the shoulders, man.
Yep.
Those are harder and harder to find. The younger generation. When I get an opportunity to talk to younger kids, and I try to explain things in a certain way so it makes sense to them, because you kind of approach it a different manner. And sometimes I get through. I had this funny enough, this 16-year-old, he's turning 17 in August, who's friends with my daughter, and he's like, I've been watching some of your stuff, and I've been thinking about putting together a little bag, because we live in Florida and there's hurricanes. And I said, bingo, you're on something. You're onto something right there. And then we went into this conversation, and he was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. And I felt that I reached him, and then maybe that his friends around him, he may like, hey, I did this, and this is why I did it. Coming from another teen to another teen would kind of create this
Yeah,
snowball
yeah,
effect, So that's what I'm hoping.
yeah. That'd be awesome. Well, the thing is that the next generation, they're going to be all about gold and silver. They're going to be all about preparedness, because they're going to be the offsprings of the generation, in my opinion, that's going to suffer the most.
Absolutely.
So
it's coming. It's just it's like that slow burn, you know what I mean? And people wanted this, they say, well, I don't see what's happening. I'm like, how do you not look at, when you step away from your life and you just want to take a glance at the big picture globally, or even the United States, and look at everything and say, wow, there's something happening. I don't know what it actually is, but something is going to happen.
yeah,
And
I love that. Amazing Grandma says, Gray and Rudy, I got dimes and quarters just before the price hikes. Awesome.
nice.
That is
Nice.
great. I did too. I went and got some dimes right before silver did that upward move. I think I got dimes at I think it was like $18 face. Yeah, like $18 face, which is really good. When you look at now, it's like 23.
It's the fluctuation has been quite impressive, and some of it's holding steady. You know what I mean? It's not going back down. Because remember, we had a conversation probably maybe 6-8 months ago, and we were talking about silver. I don't know if it's before we started doing the show or not, but we were saying, oh, silver's on sale. It's 19 something an ounce. I'm like, I missed that now, man.
Yep. I still say that silver's on sale. I think that as long as the ratio of silver to gold is like above 70, I think it's on sale. Because I think that in the end, when everything's said and done, and the dollar has been devalued to where it's going to be devalued to make us a third world country, I think that the ratio of silver to gold is going to be, I would say, between 25 and 15. So if you can get silver and the ratio is above 70, you still have a lot to gain by the time that it gets down to 25, let's say. I mean, you're making almost 300%, or at least 200% on your purchasing power. If it goes from the ratio of 70 to all the way down to like 25, you're doing like 50% on your purchasing power. I hope that makes sense to people. But when I talk about the ratio, I talk about the ratio of gold to silver. How many ounces of silver does it take to buy 1 ounce of gold? So, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, that, I don't know, I think it was about a year ago or so, the ratio of silver to gold was like 120, which means that if you had 1 ounce of gold, you could go and trade that 1 ounce of gold in for roughly 120 ounces of silver. Okay. So now let's say that you did that. You went and you traded 1 ounce of gold for 120 ounces of silver. So now today you're sitting there with 120 ounces of silver. Well, today the ratio of silver to gold is about 77. Let's just call it 80. So that means that today you can take 80 ounces of silver and trade it in for 1 ounce of gold, which means that had you done that today, you would be sitting with that same ounce of gold that you traded for all your silver, plus an additional 40 ounces of silver. Right. So once the ratio of silver to gold gets down to about I don't know, probably about 25 or so, you're going to have had gained purchasing power, right? Instead of just kept your purchasing power. I hope that makes sense. And right now it's at like 77, 78. So, I think that as long as it's above 70, or maybe even above 60, you're still good to buy it. There's not really a nominal amount that you can put on it. I think that the best way to put it is as a ratio and not a dollar amount.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, Rudy. Let's say someone is watching this live stream right now, and they don't know nothing about prepping. They just coming in, they see global conflict. You know what I mean? They're curious what we're talking about. And if you had to tell that person, where should they start? Like a couple of tips on, if they've never prepped before, they're coming across this channel right now and they're seeing this and they're like, listening to some of us, because sometimes we forget about the folks that are just coming up. And I wanted to know, what would be your advice to someone who's brand new, who's watching us right now saying, well, where do I start?
Man, I have a great answer for that. Man,
I know you would.
This is such a good answer, Gray, that I think even you're going to be impressed. What I would say is, take a look around your house and tell yourself, I can't leave my home for a month. Grab a piece of paper, a pencil, and tell yourself, okay, I cannot leave my home for a month. Is what I have currently enough for me to survive here for 1 month if I can't leave my home? That's it. Simple, man. That's the beginning steps. And of course, at first, you're going to do what? What's the first thing that people think about when you say that? Food. We all eat, right? We all eat. And, it's natural to say, well, how much food do I have? Okay, that's a great question. Now go answer that question. How much food do you have? And then figure out what's the delta or the difference between how much food you have on hand and how much you would need for a month. Hey, give me a second, right? Can you take me off for a second? I'm gonna mute myself. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. I got you. Thank you, surviving behind liberal lines. I appreciate that. I mean, folks, don't you think that was a great answer? Because there's a lot of folks, they'll see, let's say I'm doing a pantry haul video and they look behind me and they see this wall of food. So they kind of get like deterred into a certain aspect. And they're like, man, how did you do that? You know what I mean? And they don't understand that I've been doing it for years and years and years and years and years. It takes time to get your preps up. And I always worry that I'm going to miss out on educating some of those folks because they look at it like, I can't do that, when they technically can. It's about baby steps, and how Rudy kind of elaborated on that question that I asked him about assessing what you have now, what it takes to survive a month. And then when you build that month, and then you say, okay, now let me shoot for 3 months. Let me shoot for 6 months. And you slowly start escalating those preps. Eventually you'll have the same thing or more than I even have. You know what I mean? It just takes that time to build everything up. A lot of people coming into the emergency prepper kind of realm of things, they get overwhelmed and they say, it's just too much. I can't do it. I see Rudy back up there. You good? Okay. And why is it muted? Are you muted, Rudy?
Sorry about that. I muted it.
No, you're
good.
To
interrupt you in case you didn't.
And it's like when I go and watch one of the gun channels that I enjoy, and I'm like, man, they got the bulletproof helmet, they got the best high speed gear, they got the $4,000 AR-15, they got the best rounds, they got all this cool stuff. I can never do that. But over the last decade, I've slowly built up my tactical stuff to get to that level. There's still things that I'd love to have that I can't afford, but it took me time to get to that level. Starting off with something very cheap, and practicing and learning how to do all the stuff with it, and then working my way into better stuff. So no matter what you do in life, you have to start somewhere and build upon that first step, and then escalate from there.
And you know what, Grey? If you don't want to label yourself a prepper, if you don't want to live the prepper lifestyle, I love doing what I do mainly because I get to show cool stuff on YouTube. I get to show all different types of water filters, all different kinds of solar generators, whatever. I like doing that kind of stuff. And obviously, all right, where's Forrest? He hasn't even hit me up today. Obviously, I like to talk. Right? So when you combine something that you're passionate about doing and you like to talk and you like to share with other people, I love doing this kind of stuff. But if you don't have to be prepared. I forgot what video it was, but it wasn't that long ago. And I did a video pretty much that, hey, if you don't want to be labeled a prepper, if you don't want to call yourself a prepper or anything like that, that's great, no problem. Get these basic things, put them away in cold storage, meaning that you're going to get things that are going to last you 25 years or more. Put them away. Don't think about it. Break glass when needed. And that's it. And I think I said something, if you can only buy only one firearm, and that's it, get a shotty, right? Get a shotgun. Why? Because you can get different shells for it and use it for different things. And it is great home defense, right? So, and that's what I said, if you're going to, depending on how many people in your family, depends on how many calories you need per day, you're going to want to have a simple carbohydrate. You want to have complex carbohydrate. You're going to want to have protein. You want to have vegetables, whatever it is you want to have. Get this kind, because you get it once, you put it away. You don't have to check it. Check it in 25 years and see if it's still good. And if you haven't used it, keep it. A lot of this stuff will last 30, 40 years, believe it or not. So you don't have to label yourself anything to be prepared and to ensure that your family has what they need during the worst of times. That's what preparedness is about, is so that you can be able to afford your family a decent standard of living, where when everyone else's standard of living has been stripped away for whatever reason.
I'm just kind of clicking on some of the things, because Fat Man's like, you should have money put away, at least 3 months of finances put away before you start prepping and whatnot. But like I said, everyone's circumstances are going to be different.
Yeah.
I was going to say something I was thinking of, because I'm going to do something on my channel that I've never done before, coming up here the next, probably, I think in July, or either end of June or probably July. And I'm going to be blowing something up, man.
Oh yeah, man. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I already know what it is, ladies and gentlemen, but I can't say anything. Yeah. GreyMan made me sign an NDA. So people can't say anything about it.
What is Grey doing? What is, I've never seen this on his channel. I'm like, man, I'm always evolving.
That's gonna be pretty cool, man. Yeah.
I'm gonna have fun with it, man. I thought there was something else that was on my mind, but it's like squirrel, and I get lost, when it comes to stuff. I know one thing of my preps I have used most has been a flashlight. Minuteman, me and Rudy love flashlights. I got a flashlight review coming. It's actually I think I'm gonna name it like Battle of the Flat Flashlights or something, because there's 3 companies.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this right now before Grey tries to pollute your minds with all of these fancy $500 flashlights. Go check out my hybrid light, because they're rugged flashlights that are made to last forever at a very good economical price. What do you think about that, Grey? Grey's not gonna let me come on his channel anymore.
I have where was it? I saw Forrest.
Look at that.
You're talking to.
I was waiting for Forrest. I was waiting for Forrest to give me it today.
I love playing with reviews. I love reviews. It's one of my favorite parts of doing YouTube as well, because I get to explore and mess around with new gear, things that I would probably have never got the opportunity to do so without doing this channel. And I always tell folks, you don't have to buy anything that I review. It's great if you do, if it's something that you need or want, and go at it. But outside of that, just have some fun with it. You know what I mean? And enjoy the video, and just look at the technology that's out there, because there's always something better. And there's always something more cost effective, and you have to make that decision if it's something that works for you.
I love flashlights.
I think there's a solar generator. Another company a name brand solar company reached out to me, and they said, hey, would you do this review? I think I might have worked with them a long time ago. And when they showed me what they want me to review, and I looked at the price of that thing, I was like, okay, that's it was like $6,000 for what they want me to review, and I'm thinking,
well, I mean, it depends on what it is. It depends on what it is, because right now, if you tell me, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Tom. He's in the house. He's asking if we're giving away flashlights. So it just depends on what it is, Grey. If you tell me that this solar generator that you're reviewing is 5,000 watt-hour solar generator, and it also comes with 5 or 6 extended batteries that give you enough watt hours to run your house for a week, and you tell me, well, it's like $6,000, I'm like, wow, that's a great deal. That is a great deal. But if you tell me, like some solar generator companies out there that say, hey, for $2,500 you can get this 1,800 watt-hour solar generator, and it is awesome. Why? Because it has the name Patriot in it. I'll be like, maybe not, right?
Nope.
So anyways, I digress.
It's a well-known brand. I think it totals up to 6 kilowatts, but they're offering me a $2,500 discount off that $6,000.
It's how many kilowatt hours?
It'll be total of 6 kilowatt hours total.
And it's going to be $3,500.
Yeah, roughly right around there, I think.
Well, depending on what it can do, that's a reasonable price when you get the ratio of watt hours per dollar. You know what I mean?
Right. And this comes
3,500 watt hours. If you divide how many 3,500 is the end price divided by 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's reasonable. 58 cents per watt hour. Now, depending on what it can do, as far as surge, continuous output,
right,
input capacity, as far as solar and AC, is it UPS? What's the millisecond? Depending on what it can do, then would depend on whether it makes it a better deal or not for 58 cents per watt hour. Yeah.
Right. And that's what I'll be testing in that video. I'm assuming it's going to go through. If not, it's not a big deal. I got plenty of solar generators, but it'll come with the connecting kit for your breaker box. It comes with a solar panel and then the 2 additional batteries plus the station itself. So I thought it was like, okay, that sounds like a pretty decent option, well, especially with the discount and all. So we'll see, if they offer, if they agree to my terms, and it'll be on the channel, and then I'll share it with you folks.
You know what, Gray? The thing that, hey man, you know what too? I'm gonna be able to start. I don't know if Opus is gonna be upset with me. I hope they're not, because I love the Opus brand. But being that I can now get solar generators shipped to me in Alaska, I'm gonna be able to start reviewing some different solar generators. I can't wait, because I think just about every solar generator company out there has reached me one time or another before I knew how to get solar generators shipped here. Now I do. So now I'm actually working on a deal with someone else to see if I can review their solar generators. But I'm going to be very picky, because I want to make sure that they provide a good solar generator at a very good price, and that they have good customer service. All of these things are things that Opus does, in my opinion, right now. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited because I'll be able to actually talk to you all about different types of solar generators, except for only Opus.
I'm just looking through that things because we're a little bit over an hour, folks. So we're going to end up winding this down. And what is Minuteman saying?
What is it? Fate Electric.
Hook to hang. That name does sound
familiar. That Fate
right?
Electric. Yeah. I can't pinpoint it though.
Yeah. Because I've heard of a lot of different things. Mr. Tom says everyone knows Opus.
Everybody knows Opus rules. you know what I really like about Opus, Gray? Let me tell you what. I'm gonna say it right now. Opus is not the best solar generator in the industry. It's not. But let me tell you what I like about them. They do what they tell you they're supposed to do. So if I have a Mega 5 and Opus tells me, hey, this Mega 5 is going to give you 4,000 watts continuous, I can put 4,000 watts continuous on that, and it'll give me that. It does what it tells you that it's supposed to do, right? If it tells me, hey, you can hook up this many solar panels to it, I'll be able to hook up this many solar panels to it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing that I like the best, besides that I feel they offer a very good price, it's a very good price for what you get, is that they have pretty good customer service. There have been a few of my community members that have had an Opus fail on them. I think I counted 4 or 5 in the last, 2 or 3 years that have had one fail on them. I think that 4 or 5 out of thousands that have purchased an Opus, I think that's a pretty good number, a pretty good ratio. But what's more important about that 4 or 5 that failed is that they were treated right and they were replaced immediately without any hassle. That to me is important. And then the third thing that I like about Opus that I haven't seen any other solar generator company do is they take 5% of whatever they make and they give it back to the community in the form of a program that they have that's called Opus Help. So if you out there, ladies and gentlemen, if there's someone out there that needs a solar generator for whatever reason, like a medical reason, let's say you have a CPAP and you don't have a way to power it in case the lights go out, et cetera, all you have to do is go on to Opus, go on to one of my videos. I have their website on there, Opus Helps. Go on there and fill out a short application that says, hey, this is why I need this. I can't afford one. And so far, there's been probably about a half a dozen community members from the AP community that has gotten a free Opus solar generator just because they asked for one. I really like a lot that a company takes part of their bottom line and gives it back to the people that help them to be successful, right? To me, that's important.
Thank you, Rodney, for the super chat. And I love coffee money. I'm a coffee drinker, man. And I can give Rudy credit because I work with several solar companies because I'm in Florida. They love sending me solar generators. You guys know this. I have my top three, which is the Opus, the Blue Yeti, and the EcoFlow. And then I delve around with a few other folks. And to give credit to what Rudy's saying, I have an Opus 1800 sitting over there because mine failed, and they sent it to me. It's sitting in the box. I don't feel like going in because it's very heavy. It's the what do you call it? The regular series, the 1800.
Yeah, I call them Legacy series.
Legacy series.
I've begun everything. Yeah.
And it's brand new in the box. Here's the thing, folks. If anybody was in my town, in my area that really needed it, I'll give it away. I have plenty. You know what I mean? It's brand new in the box. I took it out of the cardboard box and I put it over there. And I thought to myself, to find someone that needs it. You know what I mean? Because I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think that's a great thing to do, man.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to leave it at that.
I think over the years, I've probably given away like close to 20 solar generators. The only ones that I've kept are my Opus. I've got every one of my Opus that I've ever had. I did give away an Opus because I had an extra one. It's the one that I used for an experiment over the winter time that I left outside all winter long. When winter was over, I gave that one away to someone that lived here in Fairbanks, right? But I've probably given away about 20 solar generators. Right now, all I have is Opus solar generators, plus I believe I have an EcoFlow from one of my very early reviews. And I think the other one I have is a faucet bot. I think it's called. It's like the Ocatel that I have. And the reason I still had those is because I was using them as a backup for my Toyo stove and my refrigerator. But now that EcoFlow that I have sitting on the sidelines because now I have my freezers and my refrigerator hooked up to my Mega 5 all the time because I've been running them off of solar. So, which has been going great. I've been running my refrigerator and freezers off of solar for like the last, I don't know, month and a half. I haven't switched it on to grid power not one time the entire time. And it's been able to keep up with the little bit of solar that I get during these nice sunny days with no problem. So it's working out really good. I definitely could tell a difference in my power bill between when I was not using the Mega 5 to power them with solar and now. It's like I'm like about half as much as what I used to be as far as my power consumption.
All right. Yeah. We had to wait till Rudy ran out of breath before I wanted to go back to what I said about.
Yeah, that was a long one, man.
I don't want to get a bunch of emails that people asking me for this Opus 1800. It's a local thing, and I'm looking for someone who's elderly that has a CPAP or it's something that really just couldn't afford one, that truly, truly needs it. And the only way they're going to get one is if it's gifted to them. Someone that's like, because we're in hurricane season and someone who needs some sort of gear or that's the only thing that's going to help them get through something like that. That's who I'm kind of looking for. Because a lot of folks say they can't afford them. They kind of can, you know what I mean? So I'm really going to be particular on giving this away because I want it to go to someone who truly, truly needs it. Hopefully that doesn't deter you folks. I'm just, like I said, when I do certain things like that, I want to try to find someone who's really in need of something like that for an emergency.
Hey, great. Look at Mr. Tom.
Where's Mr. Tom at?
He's like the third from the bottom.
Love it.
Mr. Tom, you're not entered, Mr. Tom, to win a solar generator now. Oh, wait a minute. He already won one.
I thought any size solar generator use 20 amp outlets. I know there's a couple of them that I'm going to be reviewing. They're 30 amp outlets. I don't know about 20 amps.
What was the question?
Here, I'll throw it up on the screen. There you go.
Any size solar generator use 20 amp outlet. So you may be asking one of two questions. The one I think you're asking, Alberta, is if there is a solar generator that will support 20 amps, which is 2,400 watts continuously coming out. So I can talk, most of them can. I can talk about the Mega Series. The Mega Series for Opus, all of the Mega Series Opus solar generators can support a 2,400 watt outlet right here, okay? Including the Legacy Series Opus 2,400, right? If you're asking if you can plug something into it that will draw 20 amps, yes, they can all support. If you're asking in addition, can they be charged using an AC outlet that is a 20 amp outlet? Yes, as well. Because all of the Mega Series have a maximum AC input of 1,800 watts, which is roughly 15 amps. Okay. Uh, Originally, when they first made their Mega 5 series, it was like 2,300 watts coming in, way more than 15 amps. So closer to 20 amps. And before they came out with the production Mega 5 series, I actually got one early so that I can check it out before they actually went to production. And I talked them into changing it to 1,800 watts to make sure that it wouldn't be a fire hazard for people that were not savvy enough to know that you cannot plug in a 20 amp 20 amp source going into the Opus from a 15 amp outlet. If you don't understand electrical, then they should make it as simple as possible so that nobody will make a mistake. And with 1,800 watts, i.e. 15 amps, no one can mess that up. There will never be a problem or any safety issues involved.
We need the math lesson. All right.
Yeah, well, I talked about the amps and watts and stuff like that on a previous video, and it's a lot simpler than what it looks like. And it's just some basic things, but I did talk about it, and I actually broke it down, what an amp was and what it converted to in watts and all of that kind of stuff. And it's very handy to just know the basics because it allows you to know if what you're getting will meet your personal needs.
Man, well, that's funny. Oh, Minute Man, that's hilarious.
You're not as good looking as Dana White. Dana White. Dana White, is she still around?
I don't. Pat Sajak's retiring. I just saw that the other day.
Really?
I do want to throw something out there real quick before we wrap this up. My daughter went to a pool party yesterday, and we had to be parents to go over there and supervise. And I walk in because it's 100 degrees outside. And I wasn't going to sit in the pool area and sweat because I wasn't going to go in the pool with a bunch of teenagers. And I had bought my little power station and a fan, a small fan. And I put it up on the thing, plug it in, I turn it on, I turn the fan on, and I sit back with my ice water. And I see everybody staring at me, trying to figure out what is he doing. That thing ran for 4 hours. I think it was a little like 300 watt or something like that. I reviewed it ages ago. And it ran that fan for 4 hours that I was out in that nasty heat the other day. And people kept on asking me, what is that thing?
You know what, Gray? That reverse osmosis unit that I reviewed, that It's a Hell, they also make a solar powered fan.
Oh, that's cool.
And I looked at it and I was like, they didn't even ask me. I asked them, I was like, hey man, you want to send me a couple of those? That looks really cool. To just have a solar powered fan where you don't have to worry about having a solar generator for it. It'll just run off the sun. So, and it's really cheap. It's like $30 or something like that. But it's something that I'm like, this would be really handy depending on where you live, to have around. Or even if you just want to take it to go to the pool, stuff like that. So, yeah.
See that?
My regular surviving behind liberal lines. Go to my website, thealaskaprepper.com. All the way in the bottom, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see all of my contact information down there. You'll see my regular email address, my regular mail address. If you have like a P.O Box, you'll see all of the other contact points on there. And that way you can choose whichever one you want. But even if you go to my website and you subscribe to that newsletter or to my website, you can actually send me questions through there. And it'll go to my email address, and I'll be able to answer you from there as well. So, and ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't hear me earlier, because you weren't here maybe, if you go to thealaskaprepper.com and you sign up for my newsletter, which I very rarely used, I have not even used it once, all right? I'm not going to be flushing you with newsletters, all right? Once in a while, I might send you and say, hey, they're having a sale on this or a sale on that. But if you go do that, you'll be entered to win. It's either an Exodus 600 or an Exodus 600 Plus from Opus. One person that's part of my newsletter there in the website will be entered to win that, and I'll announce the winner either towards the end of this month or early next month. And of course, again, Opus is having a sale, Father's Day sale, through the 19th, I think. anyone that buys anything from there sends me an email with a print screen of their order, their name, the date, what they bought. You'll be entered to win an Opus 1800, right? An Opus 1800 solar generator, and that'll be announced during the same time. And it's all going to be done randomly. I'm not going to be picking and choosing who wins. It'll be done randomly.
I wanted to answer Rodney's question. So yesterday, the temperature was in the high 90s with the heat index of 106, and the humidity was about 87%. So
that's disgusting.
It was disgusting.
And today is hot.
Yeah.
72 degrees outside, brother.
Oh, 72. It's probably 85.
After this is over, I'm bringing the air conditioner inside the house.
I got a swamp cooler to review. It's kind of cool. I can't wait to do a review on it. Nice. Hopefully it works, because I'm going to keep it in this garage area, in my studio garage, whatever you want to call this structure here, and use it for in here, because it's supposed to run extremely silent.
Yeah, awesome.
We'll see how that goes.
Let me ask you a question about swamp coolers. Now, swamp coolers is not something that I would want to use here, and I think the reason is because it's best suited for very dry areas, like where your air is really dry. Is that right? Because wouldn't a swamp cooler like make humid air more humid because it's air going through water?
So this swamp cooler is a 3-in-1. It's a humidifier, it's a fan. And it's like I said, it has these things that you fill up and you put in this tray.
Yeah, with ice.
Filters that brings the cool air out.
Yeah, so and like you said, it's a humidifier. So yeah, I wouldn't want to use it if I already have humid air.
Right. So like I said, there's always pros and cons to everything. But in where I'm at now in this thing, this is an unair conditioned thing, and it's probably, I don't know what time it's at, 8 something at night. And it's probably still like almost 90 degrees outside right now. Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly what the temperature is. I don't have my phone with me because I don't carry it everywhere I go because I hate phones. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm struggling in the garden, so I'm putting a structure to do some things. But I'll talk about that at a different time, because we're at an hour and a half, Rudy, and my mouth is dry and I'm hungry.
God, I'll tell you what, man. I already have a full blown. Like, you know, when your throat is all scratched up.
Yeah. Did Rudy freeze?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, you stood perfectly still for a second,
talk,
man.
Great. I don't talk for more than 3 seconds, and you thought my screen freeze?
Yeah, I thought it was frozen, man. And yes, from my understanding, a swamp cooler could do that. But anything is better than the heat. You guys probably can't hear it, but I have a fan under my desk that's blowing cool air from the ground, because, you know, hot air rises and cool air settles. So it's bringing the cool air up towards me, but I have a condenser mic, so it kind of kills that sound, because it's being in here for an hour, I think hour and a half now. I can feel moisture on me because it's that humid in here. So
it's humid, huh? It's kind of like Georgia.
Yeah, I can't put since I don't plan on living here for a long time, I'm not going to put a split system in here. I've used the EcoFlow's Wave 2 air condition, but it's loud, and I can't do a live stream. So I'll cool the place down prior to starting the live stream and then just deal with it. But if you ever watch any of my videos and you see my neck glistening or something like that, that means I'm sweating to death while I'm doing that video, putting in that work. All right, folks, that's it for me.
Let's see.
Anything for you, Rudy? Because I am done.
I think I'm done, man. I mean, listen, man, we can probably sit here. Well, we'll probably sit here and talk another half hour after this is over anyways. Yeah, man, it's nice to be back. I know I didn't have a live stream on Fridays, and you know, my live stream on Fridays are going to be hit and miss. It just depends, because these are the non-winter months, and these are the months that we use to get ready for winter. So, and that's how it was last year and the year before that. So as far as having those live streams on Friday, it's just going to be hit and miss. Other than that, I'm sure that I speak for myself and GreyMan as well. I want to thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. If you want to support what we do, just go watch our videos. And if you're going to, you know, get some prepping stuff anyways, use our links, because it does help out a lot, right? And it codifies in us that what we're doing is actually doing something for someone. But again, thank you very much for being here, Mr. Tom. We'll see about that flashlight. And Mr. Tom, let us know if you're still here, what the word count is up to. Okay. Other than that, God bless everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, don't forget to hit that thumbs up on the way out. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comment section after this live stream ends, and I'll go back and see if I can answer any of them for you in case we missed something. Other than that, folks, thank you for taking the time to watch us this evening and spending the time with us. We truly appreciate your support. Next week, we'll be back on Rudy's channel. As far as I know, nothing, because I know Father's Day is Sunday. You got anything going on Monday?
No.
Okay, so neither do I, so we should be good.
You know how it is, man, with holidays when it comes to me. There's just, unless it's for someone else, it's not that big of a deal for me. But,
okay, I just want to make sure.
It is what it is.
All right. And outside of that, I can't think of anything else. God bless all of you folks out there. Stay safe, stay prepped, and we'll catch you on the rebound. And remember, folks, you are not alone. This is GreyMan.
Have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe.
And AP. And we're out.
We're out.